The Lakers dropping their third straight game last night. Now Woj and Dave McMenamin reporting the Lakers will be without starting point guard Dennis Schröder for 10 to 14 days due to COVID health and safety protocols. Schröder sat out last night's loss to the Raptors because of the protocols. This is the second COVID-related absence for Schröder. There's never a good time to lose a starter, but this is a heavy blow to the Lakers as they try to reintegrate LeBron and AD back into the lineup. LeBron isn't even still playing consistently. We'll have more on that in a minute, but back to Schröder, who is averaging 15.5 points and 5.8 assists this season, was one of the key players who kept the Lakers afloat without LeBron and AD. Perk, what do you think the loss of Schröder means for the Lakers right now?
Well, Rachel, it means everything, and it's hard, but it's a disaster when you look at it. When you look at the structure of the Los Angeles Lakers, it's only two playmakers at the guard position and at their wing position, LeBron James and Dennis Schröder. You take Dennis Schröder away, who do you have left? A hobbling LeBron James is not good for the Lakers right now. LeBron James is not healthy, as we can see. I don't even think he's 60%. So, and it just goes to show, I want to give a lot of credit to the players around the whole entire NBA of what they've been dealing with throughout the NBA season, dealing with certain situations as far as testing on the regular, as far as with COVID and the whole COVID protocol situation.
I couldn't agree more, Perk. This is a really tough blow for the Lakers for the exact point you mentioned. Who's going to facilitate now? You don't want to put more on LeBron James's plate. And the other thing about Schröder, I thought it was really important for him to be around because, as we know, Anthony Davis has been struggling a bit as he reintegrates back into this team. He's only shooting 39% from the floor. The Lakers have actually been outscored by 56 points during the time that he's been back. Now, we know he's a great player, but who better than your point guard, who has been a really big leader, and you could argue one of the most important players on that team, to get you back into the swing of it? Now you're not going to have him.
Jackie, do you think that seeing this will impact any of the Lakers and other teammates or maybe other teams around the league? The league has been pretty clear. If you are vaccinated, the protocols will be different for you. Schröder missed time earlier this season for contact tracing. The league has already come out and said that's not going to be the case for vaccinated players, taking guidance from the CDC. Right now, he's missing 10 to 14 days, which is usually an indicator that the player is dealing with coronavirus. That is going to be kept private, but we can sort of read the tea leaves of the schedule. And again, look, we have this information from our nation's leading doctors that it is very, 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 very hard to come up with a positive coronavirus test if you are fully vaccinated. Do you think that this is now impacting players and teams on the court and, in fact, could really put a dent in the Lakers' playoff hopes, might affect some of the thinking of players who maybe are okay getting vaccinated, just haven't gotten around to it or have sort of on the fence, Jackie?
Well, if they haven't got vaccinated yet, I would be guessing that their teams are going to ask them to do it in a big hurry and probably recommend the one-shot vaccination because, as you know, you get vaccinated, you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get the second vaccination, and then you're not officially cleared, according to the CDC guidelines, for yet another 2 weeks. You're talking 5 or 6 weeks out. I do think this, COVID has just cast a pall over this entire season. I think that's pretty obvious to everybody. And when these things happen, it's just so frustrating, not just to the player involved, but everybody on his team, because now they all have to be tested again. This is just, this nightmare can't be over soon enough for a lot of NBA players, that's for sure.
And look, the NBA has made it clear to the Players Association, to individual players, it is up to the person himself whether he wants to get vaccinated. Right. But they've also made it clear that the rules are going to be different for people who are and aren't, just like the rules in society are going to be different. The CDC has already come out and said this, so you're just going to have to decide. There's all kinds of factors when you decide as a player, am I going to take this painkiller or not? What will it do to my body long term? What will it do if I play on this ankle that I probably shouldn't play in, but it's the playoffs and I really want to be there for my team? Those kinds of questions we're used to players grappling with injury, that they are now going to grapple with vaccination questions that really are a lot of the same sort of pros and cons and equation, I think is going to be very interesting. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.